Mary, thank you so much for coming and doing this with us again. I wish it was in person, but we'll make this work.
Thank you. Yes. And I am glad she's doing the muting because I always feel like I'm telling everybody, shut up when I do it. It's like mute. But there's dogs, there's babies, there's phones ringing, and that's why we do it. We're not being rude. It feels like it though. So thank you all so much for coming. I see so many creative faces here. I'm going to give you a little background about why I wrote this book and about our Lifelong Learners group that some of you are here, which is wonderful. And then we'll take turns going through some of our creative sparks who are also here. So I am Mary Potter Kenyon, if you don't know me already, and I live in Dubuque, and I'm a program coordinator at Shalom Spirituality Center, but I'm also a writer and a public speaker, and I do workshops. And so I live a very creative life here, even if it's not, I'm not painting paintings or that kind of creative. So I wrote this book. It took from 2011 when I jotted down some notes after my mother's death and had started doing a little bit of public speaking. I spoke to a young group of homeschooling moms and heard that when I asked them about being creative and working creativity into their lives, I heard I'm too busy or I don't have time for that. And yet they were willing to put money and time and energy into helping their kids be creative. So I was hearing that, and I had grown up in a very, very creative household. I mean, we had to be creative. One thing, we didn't have any money. So we learned to draw with crayons on newspaper print or brown paper sacks from the grocery store because we all wanted to color and we all wanted to read and we all wanted to draw. So, and I had a mother who made the rag rugs, did the gardening, did canned goods. She beautified our home, with a very simple home, with wall hangings that she made from burlap sacks and buttons and just anything she had around. She was the kind of woman who at the age of 42 sat down in front of the chicken house and decided she'd carve wood. I mean, how many of us would, at the age of 42, think we're just going to pick up a kitchen knife and sit down and carve a piece of wood? But she did. And that was kind of the start for her. And eventually she built up a home business with beautiful wood carvings and paintings, barn board paintings, paintings on canvas. She never charged enough for her art. I have her old ledger. I see little wooden owls were sold for $5 and big statues were sold for $50. And if anybody knows anything about carving wood, you're talking about hundreds of hours for some of those pieces. So she never charged enough for her art, but it was a part of her life. So I'm talking to young homeschooled moms. And then the next group I spoke with was at the other end of the spectrum, and they were women in their 70s and 80s. And when I asked them about working creativity in their life, they said it was too late, or worse, they said, I don't have any talent. And it broke my heart, because I believe, as I'm sure most of you in this room, we all have something in us. I mean, it might not be a painting, it might not be music, it might not be something hanging in a museum, but we see it in our children. And somebody saw it in us, I hope, or somebody encouraged that in us, I hope. But whatever it was that we were built and designed, and you can look at it with science, and my book talks about the science behind it, or you can look at faith-wise, is God designed each of us to create, and science has proved that. So that eventually, I just knew I wanted to be around creative people because it made me feel more creative. I mean, I knew I'd been writing for 20 some years, but just to listen and see the people's eyes light up when they talk about what they do, it just fed my own creativity. So when I began working as a librarian, that was 2016, 2017, I started a Lifelong Learners group, and that was at the James Kennedy Public Library, which I'm talking to you. I would be talking to you from if I was there, but they are sponsoring this. And that Lifelong Learners group, I put an ad in the newspaper and said, is there something in you that wants your crayons back? Were you the kid in school who read books underneath the desk that were snatched from your hands? Were you the one basically that colored outside of the lines and you wanted the trees to be purple and the bunnies pink, you know, and did you not quite fit that square peg in the round hole, or vice versa? And a group of women came, and some of them are here tonight. A couple of them are featured in my book, and we became our own little tribe, and we would try painting, and we would try playing a ukulele, or hand lettering, or making jewelry. So each month we were trying different things. And it was me telling them not to be scared, not to worry about failure, you know, just to have fun. And that group, I don't know if we went like 18 months, but they were kind of my beta group because they were testing what I would eventually be writing about. And some of the Ignite activities that I include in my book are things we did. We did fill out a questionnaire to look back at our childhood. What was it that made us come alive? What was it that we loved? What was it that we were drawn to? We did do a vision board. So I used some of the activities in that beta group of our Lifelong Learners. And I see Darcy is here, and Kim is here, and Sue, both my Sues, and Jane. They were all in that. It wasn't a test group. They weren't my guinea pigs, but they were part of that Lifelong Learners group. And I miss it because once you find your tribe, it's just, I would always leave there lifted. So 2 of those people I ended up choosing to interview for the book. Now, how I went about interviewing, or how I chose, was I was looking for people that kind of fit the chapter topic. And so even before I started writing the book, I knew I was going to interview my nephew, Steve, who's in the book, because Steve, from the time he was 4 years, from the time he could hold a pencil, wanted to be something, and eventually became that something. And that was a Garbage Pail Kids artist. I mean, that was his goal in life. And he would send pictures to Mad Magazine, and he would write to other artists, and he would send them his drawings. And eventually, I mean, we're talking 35 years of one goal. That's it. I'm going to do that. And he would say that. That's what I want to be. That's what I want to be. And he finally became that. We are not all that lucky that we know exactly what we want to be, but we might have an idea, or that stubborn. But I knew I was going to interview him. The other one that I knew I was going to interview was my brother, Bill, because my mother, who had carved wood from the age of 42, left behind her tools. And my brother, at the age of 60, when he retired, picked up those tools and started carving. And he makes walking sticks and some of the owls and different things out of wood. And I don't know if you can see it, but way in the background, there's a clock back there that he made. I've got a peace sign back there that he made. I mean, his wood is around my house too now. So that was the person who, in midlife, after they retired, chose to do something different and new and learn. Now the Sues, I have actually 3 Sues or Susans or Susannas in my book. So I think Susans and Sues must be very creative. They just must, because I didn't do that on purpose. I will let them tell us a little bit about themselves, but what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to call on my creatives that are featured in the book that are here tonight, because number 1, I want to say why I chose them. Number 2, I want them to tell us what they've been doing. Some of you were interviewed 2 years ago. So I want to know what your life is like now. I probably should have given you a heads up about that part, but I'm sure you know what's going on in your life now. And then I want to open up the discussion to what any of you want to ask, any of the creatives or or me or each other, that's fine, to about, so I interviewed a yoga teacher, and somebody who read the books said, well, I don't really think of yoga as creative. I said, oh my gosh, not only does she do yoga, but she's learning all the time different types of yoga and different therapeutic yoga. And she also does kinder music. I was hoping she would be here tonight because she's not doing that anymore. But just to me, it's like, whoa, a person who's learning all the time, that's a creative person. So I'm going to start with Sue Engelbrecht. And if you, I know I should start with the other Sue, but we'll start with you. So Sue, I chose you, and you guys can unmute yourselves if you need to or want to. I chose you because when I worked for the newspaper, I had never met anybody like you. I mean, when you go to interview somebody, you have your paper out, right? And you got your pen, and I'm ready to interview her. And she pulls out her paper out of her pocket. And she's telling me things and asking me questions. And she hands me a piece of paper and a pen and says, no, you make your list. Because she came to that interview with a list of the things that brought her joy, the things that, I mean, things like the smell of coffee or this, I mean, it was just like, I felt like crying because here was this busy, busy nurse, this busy person who was finding moments in every day and bringing herself joy and bringing other people joy because she was doing that. And she, at the time I interviewed her, she had not retired yet. So I don't think, or she retired. No, you did not retire because I was interviewing you about your job. So Sue, you tell us about your bucket list and maybe a little bit about what you're doing.
Well, I would say most of my bucket lists, except for the national parks and different things, have been checked. A lot of it has been checked, but like everybody knows, when you check something off, you got 3 more to take its place because life just moves on. You know, I mean, it just happens. And I don't know, I just like to really be in the moment. And that is very important to me, to just, you know, take a deep breath and just, you know, pay attention. So, yeah, my bucket list was, well, it was my daughter that said, Mom, I really think that you need a routine when you retire. You should really have things list up. You should name some things you want to do. And I had like about 50, like in a heartbeat. You know, I said, I don't think you have to worry, Marta. I will, you know. So, yeah, so anyway, I've been doing a lot of sewing for COVID. I've made hundreds of masks, and I'm up to here. And I want to start making baby things. And it's like, I like how people come into your life that, like, I got my daughter's serger up to make things faster. And a friend had stopped over and she goes, well, I know somebody that can help you. And I've been searching for like 2 weeks for somebody to help me. I've called several places too. And she's a 71-year-old lady in Manchester. She just texted me and said, you know, I'm confirming, are you coming tomorrow with your, and I'm thinking, don't you just love it how when the student's ready, the teacher appears. That is just a basic, one of those universal truths, you know? And so, I don't know. It's like everybody fills up their days, I think. It's not just me. It's like, I look at, you know, Darcy and Sue and Jane and Carol and Kim, you know, I mean, we had so much fun in that group of being creative that, you know, I'm not unique, but thank you for choosing me. And it's fun to you know, stop and think the little things that bring you joy. And then when somebody tries to steal your joy, then walk a wide circle around them. Don't let them. So there you have it, in a nutshell.
Good advice. I know we don't see the same order on the screen, but I'll be calling on people in order. So Bruna, I see you on the screen. Can you tell us what you have been doing and please do share what you are preparing for in November too. But Bruna, I met at a writing class I was doing at Hawkeye in Cedar Falls. I met her and her husband. But I hadn't yet heard her sing, and I already knew she was talented in other ways, but as soon as I was blown away when I heard that. And she also has a very powerful testimony she shares in the book. So I would love to, I think we would all love to know what's going on in your life.
So Mary, I want to say congratulations for your new book. It's
Thank
so
you.
beautiful. It brought tears of joy to my eyes when I started reading. I'm almost crying now, but it's of joy. And I wanna thank God for this opportunity to be in your book, to be part of your book. And also I wanna say that's such a blessing for all of us, all the other creative sparks too, to be part of your book. And I want to share something that I one of the things that you wrote here that I was just like, I think it's why Jesus said we need to be like a little kid. Because, okay, so you wrote something here that I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And many times we forget about this. Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once we grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And when I read here that says, claim back your crayons,
Yep.
I was just like, wow, in a busy life, many times we don't stop to smell the flowers. And this is the one of the scenes of one of my music videos. That's my first music video in English called Renewal. And I was asking the Lord the direction, like how he wanted the script and everything. And it was exactly what your book talks about, like call to be creative, slow down, like make time, like even if you have a busy schedule, make time for what God has called you to do. God has called all of us to be creative. And like you said, many people thinking they don't have any talents. God gives talents to everyone, everybody. And so like one of the projects I'm working now is Kids CD. We just recorded my first music video in English that I could write a script that's very relaxing, that's like having some scenes that there is a little girl also as a special guest in my music video that she's pretending she's me when I was a little girl. So the entire message is like that. It's about becoming a little child again, having that purity, that creativity that God has given to all of us. Like, doesn't matter our age, we can keep that with us. And so the next project I'm working on now is the Kids CD. So we have like some songs that I'm gonna be recording a music studio in the next few days. And everything's in English. So for who doesn't know, my first language is Portuguese because I'm originally from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and got prepared for my husband and I meet in Brazil in January 2012. And the book talks about this. Mary talked a little bit about my story. And so got prepared for me to become American citizen last year, December 2019. So everything that I was doing was in Portuguese while I was in Brazil. And now I'm working these songs. And we also have a GHS in home daycare. And one of the kids were like a little fussy. It was like crying a lot. It was having like some stress from, I don't know what was going on in the kid's life when the kid arrived in our home daycare. But I start singing one of the songs that I'm gonna record in the music studio in the next few days. It's a lullaby, and I was singing in English, and the child just fell asleep. Like the child just like was so loving, so relaxed, and stopped to cry. And I was crying because I was like, wow, that little kid, it was just like could soothe himself and just relax. And all the kids here now in home daycare, we have always like songs playing. We have music time. They can play some instruments, even though they are like months old, like 1-year-old toddlers, babies, toddlers, preschool age. We have this interaction. And I think this is what all of us, like, it doesn't matter our age, we need to slow down and sit on the floor, like get to do things that we feel God is giving us talents and inspiration and ideas. I like it. I already started like reading your book, and I love what you shared about the vision board. It's something that I think it's so important. I have used this, and I didn't know that this is a technique, actually. Like, this is something I was already doing naturally. I was like, if I was seeing something interesting in a magazine, a newspaper, or picture or something, I would like get like my scissors and cut and have like a folder with all the things that I was thinking that's a good idea to use in one of my CDs or one of my music videos or something. And another thing is the mind mapping that you also talk in your book and you also shared. And we're so thankful to God for your life, Mary. You're such an instrument from the Lord to bless the lives of so many people. And we're so excited that we're expecting our baby boy. You
Yes,
asked what we are preparing ourselves for November. Praise
yeah.
God. We are
They are expecting their first baby. Yes.
praise God. We thank the Lord for his gift to us. And yeah, so this is what I would like to share. And congratulations again. Thanks so much for inviting me to be part of your book. My husband and I love you so much.
They're my extra kids. We can adopt them. Okay, somebody moved because all of a sudden my screen all moved. But Deanne and Gary, you are kind of together. So, and you can talk together too. Because they're together, they're my one single spark couple, creative spark couple in the book. I was interviewing Gary and then he started talking about Deanne and I couldn't not include her because she's such a part of the creativity that they live and breathe and practice. So if you want, I don't know if you want to tag team each other or what.
Yeah, well,
Sure. I think I'll let Deanne go first.
okay. We're in a similar office but separate rooms, or we'd be squealing. So I think maybe when I talked to you, when we interviewed with you, I guess 2 years ago, we talked a lot about how much inspiration we get from the past. I just lost the lights out automatically here in the office. So sorry.
Oh no.
And that we, for many years, have immersed ourselves in kind of an extreme recycling and restoration of old stuff, buildings, houses. We've been working on our project where we currently live for quite a while. And when you talk about breathing in creativity, that means breathing in a lot of sawdust, because really kind of taking off the layers and things, layers of decay, and bringing things back to what made them beautiful. And that helps you see the stories behind those things and all of the effort and imagination that people invested in everything from their silverware to their woodwork to the staircase to every part of an old structure. So actually we're still working on some of those same projects because they're so massive. But we're also both educators and researchers, and somewhere along the line, as we were teaching college, we began to seriously wonder why so many of our students didn't seem to have that creative spark. And I don't mean that they weren't creative, it's that they didn't consider themselves creative or curious. And instead, so many of them seem to be kind of so weighed down by the routines that they had learned and not really finding much inspiration when we're finding always asking for more hours in a day to do all of the things that are interesting and fun and all of that. So that's when we kind of, it's a bit of a long story, but we and I think Gary can tell maybe this part of the story a little bit better, but we met and teamed up with someone who wrote a book called Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience. And the idea that when we think about creativity, so many of us think that rules us out because we're thinking about the end result. I myself, over time, have thought, geez, I wish I could sew like that, or I could sing like that, or I could do a lot of the things that your other creative sparks can do, but I don't have that talent. But when we find the thing that sparks our imagination and makes us want to kind of immerse ourselves so that you lose hours, days, and in our case with the restoration projects, decades, that's the gateway to figuring out where you can be creative and where you can put that energy. So Gary and I have, in the last couple years, been embarking on kind of some new ventures to try to bring that idea to a wider audience. A website, Facebook page, and I think I'll turn it over to him and let him talk a bit about what that idea of flow is and what we're doing most recently with all of that.
Okay, will do. Hey, Mary, thank you so much for interviewing us, for including us in your book. I haven't yet read all of the book, but everything that I have read is just terrific. You write so well, and such a great idea, and so well executed. So thank you.
Thank you for being a part of
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Thank you. It's was a lot of fun. So, and continues to be. So yeah, this idea of flow, some of you might be familiar with it. It's a term that was coined by my graduate school mentor and our research collaborator. His name is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, and wrote this book called Flow back in 1990. And there's a tremendous amount of flow research and application, a lot that's been going on over the last several decades. In sports, it's called being in the zone. But in psychology, it's called flow. It's this experience where you get completely engaged in something at a high level of skill that you're good at, but it requires tremendous concentration. Time disappears, hours will pass as if they're minutes. You'll lose self-consciousness, the ego falls away, and you love that experience. It's a real high, a real rush for you, and you want to experience that again. And you get a build in your self-efficacy, your confidence, and you want to go back to it and continue to improve your skill. And we've been very interested in that for a long time because it's one theory that really captures what happens with intrinsic motivation, which is so important in artists, in creators. And this experience of flow is something that's central to the lives of creative people. So we've been doing a number of things, as Deanne mentioned. So we do have a website now we'll tell you about. I can put it in the chat, I guess, if you want to check it out, called The Flow Channel, which is all just one word, 3 words as one, theflowchannel.com, where you can learn more about it and what we're doing and a number of the projects we have going on. And there's a podcast that we'll be launching soon, a blog that we have there. Deanne just put it up there, theflowchannel.com. And you can learn more about that. And as time goes by here over the next few months, it'd be great to do some interviews with any of you, all of you, you as well, Mary, of course, about your creative experiences and what really brings you joy and why creativity and what you're doing is so important to you. We also have a Facebook page, The Flow Channel Official is the full name of it. So yeah, we're and we might be working on a book, but I can't say too much about that. So I'll just say might. On flow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, and Deanne and I are actually doing something at the Hearst Center. We're not at the Hearst Center, we're on Zoom. But if you are interested in learning a little bit more about flow, if you've lost yourself in something or you want to figure out how to lose yourself in something, that's Thursday night, and you can email me for the link to that. It will also be Zoom, but that's
and Mary, if it's okay, I think I can join you as well. My schedule.
Oh, yay! Yes.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Okay.
That's
Right.
okay. I'm excited now. Now
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to talk to Al. We have to meet Allison now, because Allison, as you heard Deanne talking about their houses and the sawdust and the destroying things to make them beautiful, or what, however the words, I was thinking of what you do. And her art is the, of all the people and all my creative friends and everything, I really don't have this deep-seated urge to paint. I really don't have this deep urge to play a musical instrument. And obviously I wasn't any good at it anyway, but when I saw Allison's art, and I almost wish we could just show it right now, but I'd have to figure out how to share slides and stuff, but her mixed media art, I knew, and actually she was not initially interviewed for the book, but my editor started moving all the interviews she said, I'm moving the interviews to before the chapters. And when I was getting towards the end, I thought, but wait a minute, we need one more then. And I knew immediately it had to be Allison, because by then she was also helping my daughter with art. And I also knew, and I came to this kicking and screaming, that I was going to have to actually try that kind of art. And first I was too scared. And then I talked to Allison and she convinced me. And then I thought, how dare you? How dare you not try and do what you're telling everybody in the book to do, is to try new things and not care if you fail and have fun. So Allison, I'll let you tell us a little bit about so you are probably the most recently interviewed, but it's still been over a year, probably a year and a half. So you can tell us a little bit about your life and about your art.
Okay, well, I hope everyone can hear me. I can't. But I want to say congratulations to you, Mary. And I so want to meet everyone from this book, and whoever's talked already. I just love hearing everyone's story. I'm terrible with names though, so I'll have to forewarn you about that. But I love to do mixed media art, and I've always been into art. When I was a child, I loved art class, was my favorite. I always said when I was like 6 or 7, I wanted to be an art teacher. And I grew up with, I have complex PTSD, so due to abuse from my past. And so art has been very therapeutic for me. So actually, I have 4 kids that I adopted, and my oldest daughter is going to be 16 in December. And so when they were born, I decided I wanted to start painting. I've always sketched, loved drawing, and then I started painting with acrylics and painting canvas pieces for their walls. And then my family and friends were asking me to do pieces. And finally I was like, I want to do my own thing. And I love using anything and everything for art. So I'm all about repurposing, upcycling. I love architecture, love old buildings, all of that kind of thing. So I repurpose, it's like diamonds in, diamond in the haystack, or however you want to say that. So like I'll go to farmhouses and find these awesome old windows and make them into something very creative and beautiful. And I love to use crushed glass, broken glass. I use anything that I can upcycle. And I love acrylic paint, so I use that on my windows as well. And I also repurpose frames, anything that I can paint on, wood. And I also love to paint on canvas. And when I do canvas paintings, I like to do mixed media, where I use paper that I decoupage. I glue things onto the canvas. I love to put quotes with my stuff. Sorry, my dog's wanting out. So, and speaking of creativity, I was actually doing art and lost track of time. So I ran in here to change quick to be ready. So I would have been more, fixed up maybe, I guess. So yeah, so I'm actually working on a window where I'm doing a tree with the seasons with reflective glass. So yeah. Trying to think, did I miss anything, Mary?
No, I think that's good. And I was going to try to share the screen, but then when I tried, it looked like I was going to lose you guys, and I don't want to lose you guys, but you almost have to see her art. So tell us where they can see your art, because
Actually, you can go to my, well, a couple of things have changed since I've talked to you. I did open a gallery ADBQ, that's within Upcycle Dubuque, January 1st. And we had an amazing open house. Things were going great. And then COVID hit. And I have 4 children. So I am home now full time with my 4 children, because I was also working as needed as a nurse. But I'm doing online full time with my kids. So, and doing art on my kitchen table again. So,
so we did
if
list,
you can-
we listed a website, or is that still, can
Yeah,
they still find your art
actually,
there? Okay.
you can still find my art there, but my Facebook page is probably the best place to see art I've done, and that's Allison Posters Personalized Find Treasures. When I first picked the name, I'm like, why did I pick such a long name? But yeah, so you can see all my art, and then Gallery ADBQ, you can go on there too and see how the gallery was. I'm handing over ownership to Christina Byteen, so starting actually September 1st, so today.
Okay, so our other Sue, are you able to unmute yourself, Sue?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so, and I think, yes, you are our last but not least creative spark, and you are pretty much my you're in my audience in a nutshell. Somebody who, when I asked her why she wasn't sending out this beautiful poetry for publication, I believe you said, because I don't think it's good enough. I think you said that. And so I am always flabbergasted when somebody tells creative and I see them making these beautiful flower arrangements, or I see them with their garden stuff in cans and, you know, and beautiful or this beautiful poetry. And to hear those words, and yet I see that, I mean, I've met people who, one teacher, one detractor, one person saying, well, you can't do that, or that's no good. And years and years and years go by without that confidence, and then they stop creating, and it just takes one person. So there's a real power in our words. But Sue, let me ask you, since I interviewed you, it's more than 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What has happened since that first Chicken Soup for the Soul essay was published?
Well, I'd like to go back just briefly and explain why I thought my writing wasn't good enough. And that was when I was a junior in high school. We were supposed to submit to our English teacher, who would then submit to a public television program that we were watching in class, and to submit 2 poems. And I wrote what I thought was an absolutely beautiful poem. And that poem was the only one I wanted to submit. And my mother, who was the teacher, said, no, you will submit a second one. And so I gave her this second one. I looked out a window, I slapped down 8 lines, and I handed it in. I was so mad at her. That was the one that they chose to be on the TV, and I had to go and read it, etc. That was also the one that I submitted when in 1965, which was published in Lyrical, Iowa. And so I looked at my poetry and I thought, these are good. This is icky. And it's the one everybody thought was great. And so I thought, nah, what I like is not any good. So that's why I never submitted anything.
That makes a lot of sense.
It was a stupid poem. It was terrible.
Oh my.
8 lines. Anyway, since my first publication, after you sort of kicked me and pushed me off the cliff. And I had Random Certainty published in the Chicken Soup for the Soul. I thought maybe I'll go back. I've always written. I just never have done anything with it. And so I've written more and done more submitting to Chicken Soup. I've had another one selected, and I'm in the process of getting 2 more ready to submit. I've submitted several poems to different places and had one published, and not others, but that's okay. And I'm finding it's okay if you're not published.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I still haven't submitted my best poem.
You're,
Deja.
what do you
still
say
haven't done.
before?
I can't find the right place to submit it. They either have line limits, and my poem is a little longer, and I've tried shortening it and it doesn't work. Or I don't know, it just didn't feel right. But I've also, about 6 years ago, I started painting. No clue why, except a friend that said, come on and do some painting with me, we'll take a class. And I've been taking a class for about 6 years. I'm happy with my painting. And what else have I done? My husband and I have been instrumental in starting a readers theater, not a readers theater, a radio theater. And I deal with scripting and I direct, which I've done all my life, actually, teaching. But that's basically, I'm now writing a series of essays, remembrances of my family. And I've got four done, but not polished. And I've got a few more to go. And so I'm happily doing that. I doubt I'll ever do anything with them, except all of my thoughts have been in my head. And now I have them out.
Yeah.
And if someday my children want to read them or come across them, I will be happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And so, I do photos and I submit my paintings for contests and have gotten a couple of really nice responses. And it's not like I haven't done things. It's just that I never did them to share.
Yeah. 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 You never stopped writing. You had folders
No.
full. Yeah.
No. And I used that writing to put the speech and drama kids that I taught for contest work and all. I wrote lots of things for them, and they used the contests. I did bring my very favorite painting I wanted to show you.
Okay. We did show and tell at our Lifelong Learners sometimes.
Yeah, there.
Ooh. You want to raise it up a little bit? There. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But I don't know. I don't mind trying new things, but I like to polish the things that I'm feeling I'm good at. There you go. That's me.
Thank you. So I think I got all my creatives, and I would like, especially if the Lifelong Learners want to chip in with anything or if they have any questions, because every single person on this screen is creative, because I know almost all of you, and I know you are creative in your own way.
So make sure if you have anything you'd like to say that you unmute yourself.
Yes. That helps, doesn't it?
So I have a question for you, Mary.
Uh-huh.
So you have 8 children.
Yes.
And so in our home daycare, we can have 8 children.
Oh.
And we had days here that it was like full.
Yeah.
We had like all the kids here, babies, toddlers, preschool age, and then I just like thought about, okay, Mary has 8 children and she released many books. So I want to ask you
How?
how you could coordinate your time to be the great mom you are and homeschool all your kids and still release all the books you release. Like, did you have like a schedule? Because in our home daycare, we have like a schedule about time for breakfast, time for music, time for nap, time for like, we have kind of like all that like set up in our home daycare. But I want to know, as a mom, like how could you do this plus write and release all the books that you release? So I think you can give like a great advice for all of us.
I wish there was like this secret or something. I think it was very difficult at the time, but I think it was so important to me. And I didn't have the quiet time. I didn't have this, that is very conducive to creativity. Solitude, silence. Oh my gosh, I have that now. I live with my 17-year-old now, but I did not have any of that. In one way, I think it helped me because I learned how to work it in between. I mean, kids would be playing in the bathtub and I'd be sitting on the lid of the toilet seat writing. Or if a baby fell asleep in the back seat of the car, I'd pull over to the curb and be writing and pull out the notebook. Or I volunteered to sit by my kids because they didn't want to go to sleep by themselves. They wanted mommy or daddy to sit by their bed. So I'll sit by your bed because they're quiet and they're falling asleep. And I'm just sitting there writing by the light of a nightlight, you know. So desperately, frantically held on to that part. But that also means I have kids that grew up seeing a mom who was doing what she loved. And so I think it's because I was doing it from the time they were a baby as they grew up that they got used to that blank look on mom's face when she was in her head. And then they'd ask a question and I'd be looking right at them. And as they got older, they'd say, you didn't hear a word I said, did you? And I didn't, because I'm looking at them, but I'm still there. I'm still writing stuff. So it wasn't easy, but I don't think it hurt my kids any to see that. And no, I did not have a schedule, Bruna, but it works for some people, but schedules don't work for me. They work for me for work. But for this kind of thing, the creative thing, I have to grab I keep a notebook by my bed so that 1 o'clock in the morning, if I wake up, I know I'm not going to go back to sleep unless I write it down. And I know I'm not going to remember it in the morning. So I'll write it down. And so that some of the best creative ideas came to me in the middle of the night. Yeah. And the reading, hey, I nursed my babies. Those babies had books behind their head and the pages turning. They fell asleep to the turning of pages as I nursed them. I read all of Miss Marple, Agatha Christie books with one baby. Another baby, it was Grace Livingston Hill. Another baby, I can tell you which books it was with which babies.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that one. And thank you for letting us know that you could recognize every opportunity to write. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Hey, Mary,
Uh-huh.
since you brought a lot of us creative people together, can everybody, like I see, Darcy and
Yeah.
Em and stuff, just say hi and what you're doing.
I want to hear that too. We can start with Darcy because she's up in my corner.
Yeah.
So tell us, because you are a very creative person, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Or what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, basically that creative spark or that kick in the pants that you gave with the lifelong learners, it kept me kind of moving back towards doing, like you said, getting back to what I enjoy doing. But you've also started me wanting to dig more into my goal of writing. Mm-hmm. And so I've been doing some pieces, have gotten a couple things, just random publications, some online magazines, Dubuque Writers Guild. But I've got some goals, and I just keep, every time Mary has a program, I'm right there to get more of her little wisdom and nuggets of knowledge, and just kind of, then of course I got to a certain point and then COVID hit, and it's kind of like everything has slid back down. So I'm trying, so this has like been a wonderful time for this book to come out, because now I've got to get back on that program, back on the schedule. So So thank you, Mary.
Yes. Jane, what have you been doing? Jane is from our Lifelong Learners too.
Okay, I think I
Yeah,
got
you figured it out.
Well, I've been writing personal essays and keeping an eye out where to try to publish some of them. I still have a goal to finish or to start really. I've got a couple of chapters done, a novel. I'll show you my storyboard.
Yeah. More show and tell. Ooh, tell us about that. Oh my
Good one.
gosh. Yeah.
Basically, I started doing this after reading Save the Cat. It's a writing book. And so I've got a lot of scenes that I have kind of worked out on index cards. And so I'm trying to get them kind of in an order.
Okay.
And so that when I start writing, I can look at a scene and just write, you know, get through the first draft, because it's going to be, I think Hemingway said every first draft is harder, but should anyhow.
Yeah.
So
Oh, say it.
Hemingway said that. Yes. So anyhow, that's what I've been doing.
Thank you. Kim's one of our original Lifelong Learners.
Hi. Yes. So yes, congratulations on your book. It's very exciting. Really inspired me to try to keep going with some of the creative things. So I've been trying to still journal. I've been trying to do some hand lettering. Sue had taught us that, and I'm trying to learn how to do the brush lettering, and also doing some sewing. I went to Africa last November, so I did some sewing to prepare for the trip to bring to the orphanage, some clothes and some baby diapers and onesies that we made from t-shirts.
Wow.
And also trying to finish one of my mother's quilts that she had started years before she had passed away. So I thought it'd be nice to kind of bring that back and try to finish it for her. So,
Thank you. Well, we've got time. I think if Carol or Laura or Jamie or Joni, am I missing anybody? Unless I have to move my screen. Do you want to share who you are and what you do, or why you're intrigued by creativity, or how you see yourself as creative? Well, Carol, maybe.
Well, I can share. First of all, I am very sad that I missed your class. I wasn't aware that was going on, so I must have been very busy with other things. But during the shutdown, and prior to, I've been trying to learn the ukulele, and that was primarily thanks to Sue. That was primarily just a memory thing, you know, as you get older for your memory. But I'm also doing a little bit of journaling, and I'm also trying to write a little bit of our family story. So I'm kind of doing it just in sections, just memories that I remember. I've also taken the Zen Tango class, which I find very nice. And I've been trying to apply it to some fabric, a pair of jeans that I don't like. And I thought, well, let's just fill them up with a bunch of Zen Tangles. So, and then just gardening. And I've always liked decorating. So I used to build houses. So I'm a realtor. And so I've been doing a few flippers, and I'm not doing one right now, and I really miss it. So I enjoy that part of it. So that would be about it. So.
Okay. And Jamie, do you want to tell us a little bit about your creativity?
Well, first, this book, Mary, congratulations on it. And I loved reading it, and I loved finally feeling like, I don't know, validated or normal or something, because creativity was always just something that I kind of went to. And so I am writing. I've started blogging. I've started creating these creative moments that have kind of helped me through grief. And all of that's kind of been a thing, but your book was so fascinating in the fact that as a mom, like as me, an individual, creativity is huge. Like it's an outlet. It calms me. It makes me feel like I can just move through my day or whatever. But when I get in mom mode, I'm all about the schedule and what needs to be done. And I do, because I homeschool, I homeschool, but I'm married to a teacher. So I'm still very much about the schedule of what we need to do. And your book made me realize that I have been shutting out the creativity part for my kids so that we could be on a schedule. And I mean, it was like the biggest, most wonderful, eye-opening thing for me to read in your book. And we have started introducing creativity just into our day. And I take them outside and I let them kind of feel what's around them with nature. I've given them, like, it has just been amazing to watch them kind of embrace it. And at first it was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm not creative. And I thought, oh, no, I don't want that for them. I want them to own this and know this. Yeah. So it just, being creative, it was just interesting to see how I had disconnected that part on the day-to-day basis. So I appreciated that very much.
Good. Thank you, Jamie. Laura, I'm not going to let anybody in here say they're not creative. So Laura, tell us a little bit about your creativity. Oh, but you're going to have to unmute yourself.
Let's see.
There. Yep, we can hear you.
Turn my camera around here a minute too. I'm kind of all over the board, but I am starting to, I'll show you. This is the kind of,
I can see it. Yeah. Oh, that's adorable.
Is that a baby cat?
It is a baby hat. And I've made hundreds of these, but
oh my gosh.
That's adorable.
I always think an October baby needs to be in the pumpkin patch.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Are those for sale?
Oh, I usually just give stuff away. I have to show you this one. I have 5 grandkids and I have a craft studio and it's got a little bit of everything. And when the kids get here, they're like, let's go to the craft room. And I got this for my, one of them went upstairs, Finn did, and came down with it. And I'm like, wow, you're going to have to tell me the story of this. Like, I don't even know if you can see it's like it is a treadmill for her Barbie hedgehog.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's like an aerosol paint, a lid, fun foam. She finally got permission to use the glue stick or the glue gun. But I like to do, I sew, I knit, I bake bread. I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Any of that kind of stuff.
I would like to say that we're expecting a grandson in October.
Oh, you are?
A pumpkin hat.
You need a pumpkin hat. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah, they're, I can, yeah, I'll hook you up. So.
Oh, good.
Big for a newborn, so.
Yeah.
So cute. Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable. Yeah.
I love knitting. Especially when I know who it's for ahead of time, because I always put a little card in it. And, I just say thousands of stitches and prayers for everything from who they go to prom with and who they're going to marry. And
oh, wow. Oh, you wouldn't just, yeah.
Please let mom and dad sleep. So I try to take something little, but make it really meaningful in the fact. So it's like a prayer shawl, only it's tiny, but.
Prayer hat.
Yep, a prayer hat.
Okay, Sue needs one of those for the grandbaby. We got to hook you guys up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So Joni, I'm sorry, you're last.
Hi there.
Hi.
Congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
I'm Kim's sister.
Oh, okay.
And she gave me your book for her birthday. So I've been reading it and I love it. It's great. It really is. I've been doing some knitting and crocheting. I'm currently crocheting a blanket for Kim's grandson for his bed. And, yeah. So, and then at work, we formed a crochet club. And a lot of the people are brand new. The majority of them are brand new. And they're just learning how to crochet. And we're crocheting scarves and hats for the homeless.
Oh,
and we'll be delivering those to the homeless in December. So it's been a lot of fun. Been able to help out with teaching them on how to crochet. So it's been very fulfilling.
Wow. Do you make pumpkin blankets to match?
I never thought about it. I may have to.
Sue, were you going to say something?
Yeah, so
Joni, are you in Iowa or Texas?
Texas right now, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But I love being creative every chance I get. You know, I like to expand myself with crocheting or knitting. I like to keep, doing things that I've never done before. And it's a lot of fun. It really is.
Well, thank you, everybody, and for sharing all your creative talents, and you're getting us all I can feel the creative energy even through the screen. It's not quite the same as our group, but it's making me think we need to get it back. Oh.
Can I say something, Mary?
Yes.
For you people who like to make things, there's a group, they had a fest this weekend called She Shed Fest. I don't know if any of you locals had heard of it. I heard of it too late and I didn't get to go there, but I read a little bit about it from the papers, and it sounded like there was over 1,300 people that were there. And you can get your booth. I'm not exactly sure how much it is to get a booth, but they provide like a table or tables if you need more than one. And yeah, it's a great way if you have things that you want to sell, to get involved with. So I wish I could have gone just to see the kind of things they had.
So where was that, Jane?
It was at the Dubuque County Fairgrounds.
Oh, I didn't see that. Did you, Allison? Did you know?
Yeah. It was postponed. It was supposed to be in April.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out. Huh?
Well, that's all right. I'm not used to Zooming, so I'm sorry. Yeah, it was postponed twice. It was supposed to be, I guess, in April and then in June, and so then they had it last weekend, and I really didn't know about it until it was about 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, and it lasted until 4.
Do you mean they had 1,300 people come, or
Yeah.
do you? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I think there were like around 70 vendors, and the stipulation is that it all has to be handmade things. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of cool and very creative.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can I say something real quick, Mary?
Yes.
I just wanted to say to Sue, I think it's Sue, thank you so much for making all the masks that you've made. As a nurse and also as a mother of 4, I mean, it's just amazing how everyone came together and all the creativity that's happened in communities and around the world, actually. So just
well, it was fun. My kids gave me a new Bernina for Christmas, and I got to go. It's so much more than my other one, and I was supposed to get all these free lessons as to how to use it. and COVID, their showrooms closed and their classrooms.
Oh my.
But as far as, it was my way of paying it forward, kind of keeping people, and I sowed a prayer in everyone. But I was saying, doing this Zoom stuff, I've learned a lot because we didn't get to go to our fiddle and dance class camp that we always go to. So we took 2 online classes, and I will say it's draining to learn online. So I really feel for teachers and children and how much energy it takes to stay focused,
Yeah.
and not have the energy of other people's vibes, to have them in person, to feel their energy. And but you got to do what you got to do, right? I mean, we all learn. But and Mary, I got to switch to you so I can look at your face. Thank you for bringing us all together, because through your, I don't know, your spark, our lifelong learners was really a blast. We did it for, golly, that first year we had.
That first year, that was great.
Yeah, I mean, we did everything. I think we just
and then we let it die a very slow death. Because I moved away, and then we kept trying, and so maybe it'll be this, maybe it'll be that, and
that is so funny because it did die. It didn't really die. It's kind of in a coma right now. So
yeah, maybe it's just in a coma, Darcy.
Post COVID, maybe we can have an annual lifelong learners gathering or something of that nature.
I think we should.
I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, thank you so much. And if you guys know how to use the chat, you can see theflowchannel.com in there. And we've got to connect Laura and Sue for the pumpkin hat. Bruna, what if your baby comes early? He's going to need a pumpkin hat. You'll have to let us know. Babies come early sometimes.
Oh, we are so excited to hold our baby already. In November, I forgot to tell everybody that's my birthday. And also, my husband and I celebrate our our Brazil anniversary. Because we started in the United States in October, and we got married in Brazil 1 month later. So we have so many things to celebrate.
Yes.
In November, our baby boy's birthday, and also my birthday, our anniversary.
Wow, that's going to be one big month full of cake. Well, thank you everybody for coming tonight. Shirley, are you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yes, do we tell them where they can buy the book, or are you going to do the drawing for the free book?
I will do a drawing. Everyone who's here tonight will be in a drawing to win a free book donated by Miss Mary. And then, of course, if you want to purchase the book, I would really recommend that you go to the bookstore in Dubuque. We had the link to their website on our webpage for a while. I'm not sure if it's still there. You can just search for it, or Mary might know the email or the website offhand. I don't recall it.
Not offhand, but River Lights Bookstore. I like to support the small businesses. Yes, you can buy the book anywhere, but if you can purchase one from a small business, this is hard times for them. Oh, and Gary and Deanne, it's at the UNI bookstore too. So
that's good to know too.
Yeah.
Any last questions or comments before we end? It's been you told me an hour, Mary, but it's already been longer than that.
Not too much. Oh.
Mary, I wondered if you got my address.
Yes, I did. So that book's headed your way. I mean, it will. I've got the label printed out. It isn't actually headed your way till I put it in the mailbox. Yeah.
It's so nice to meet everybody. Thank you, Mary, for this opportunity that we could all meet.
Yeah, we're not all here, not all the creatives, but a good portion of them. There's actually 12. One's dead because it's the obituary that's in the news, that's in the book. I don't mean she just died. She's been dead for years. But so there's 11 creatives featured in the book. So we got a nice group of them tonight. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you so much, Mary.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.